Want the best of the best? Well, here we go. Yeah, the best from Apple versus the best from Samsung. It's the upcoming holiday season, and you know that these two phones have a lot to offer. They've been upgraded tremendously over the predecessors, but ultimately, we shall find out exactly which of these two is going to win your business this holiday season. Hey guys, John V from PhoneArena here. You're watching our video comparison between the Apple iPhone 6s Plus and the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. Let's first talk about their designs. There's a lot to like about the two because they feel very premium. The iPhone 6s Plus, however, is mostly unchanged with the exception of the new rose gold color. It still has a premium feel, but it is heavier to hold in the hand. Oppositely, the Note 5 makes some considerable changes. We definitely like the premium approach Samsung is taking with this handset. It's now a metal meets glass package. It's thinner, lighter, and on top of that, it has one of the best screen-to-body ratios out there. From a spec sheet standpoint, the Note 5 has an advantage. It has a larger 5.7-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display, so it's technically sharper, more detailed, but when you look at the iPhone 6s Plus and its 5.5-inch 1080p Retina display, it still has some good qualities, and when you look at the two from a normal distance, they're both pretty much on par when it comes to detail superiority. Now, they both have some good favorable qualities. For example, they're both pretty bright. The iPhone 6s Plus is slightly better than that, but the Note 5 has the better color temperature of roughly 6700 Kelvin, whereas the iPhone 6s Plus runs a little bit colder at over 7000 Kelvin. Both are exceptionally great when it comes to their color accuracy, and so they're pretty much true to life. And when it comes to brightness output, both are great too, but the iPhone 6s Plus has a smidgen higher 593 nit brightness versus 470 nits with the Note 5. We definitely like what Apple has done with the iPhone 6s Plus and the new 3D Touch technology. It's pretty inventive. It's able to measure varying degrees of pressure when you press your finger against the display. It's cool, but it's not widely used in many third-party applications. But it's very nice in actually interacting and navigating through the UI. However, though, the S Pen stylus with the Note 5 just offers a high degree of functionality. So it not only is it better for writing stuff down, so you get that true paper to pen experience, but it's also a useful tool in other things like the web browser. You could use it as a cursor, and it's just nice that you have this precise tool at your disposal. The other main differentiator here is going to be their core experiences, Android versus iOS, and that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor for you. Now, if you want something simple and straightforward, go with the iPhone 6s Plus. That's what iOS is known for. If you're all about productivity and multitasking, go with the TouchWiz experience of the Note 5. You'll have that. It really appeals to power users more because you have features like multi-window and also a one-handed mode at your disposal. And that's in addition to the features that come with the S Pen stylus. On top of that, the Note 5 has also some extra features too that are not found in the iPhone 6s Plus. They both have fingerprint sensors, but the Note 5 benefits from having a heart rate sensor in the back and also built-in wireless charging. Superficially, they're both remarkably snappy with their performances. You'd hardly notice the difference between the two when it comes to navigating across the UI or even running some specific applications. The iPhone 6s Plus is powered by Apple's A9 chipset, while the Note 5 is using the Exynos 7420 octa-core chip from Samsung. Now, the advantage when it comes to graphics processing goes to the iPhone 6s Plus, and that's partly because of its lower screen resolution, 1080p, so it's not as demanding as the Quad HD resolution that the Note 5 is packing. And speaking of memory, you have a base storage of 16GB with the iPhone 6s Plus. Of course, you could choose the 64GB or 128GB options if you want, but at the base level, it's 16. Whereas with Note 5, the minimum storage you're going to get is 32GB. There's also a lot to like about their respective cameras. They're two of the best out there right now in the market. The iPhone 6s Plus has a new 12-megapixel camera sensor, whereas the Note 5 has a 60-megapixel camera. It has an f1.9 aperture lens versus f2.2 on the iPhone 6s Plus. As far as the front-facing cameras, they're both set at 5 megapixels. When it comes to their interfaces, we definitely like the Note 5 better, just because you have more controls and shooting modes at your disposal. The iPhone 6s Plus's interface is pretty simple. Not really a whole lot has changed. It's all about just taking the photos and nothing else. But with the Note 5, you just have more options at your disposal. And you also have a very useful Pro mode, which allows us to have some manual controls to adjust things like even the shutter speed. You won't be disappointed by their qualities as well. They take some sharp looking photos, and you could also crop them to an extent. The Note 5 has the advantage when it comes to details. You see it both in lower lighting conditions and when they're ideal. It just does a better job of that. Though when it comes to outdoor scenery shots, it tends to produce warmer looking colors. The iPhone 6s Plus, on the other hand, does a better job of handling dynamic range. So the exposure throughout the scene is pretty neutral, so you won't have areas that are too overexposed. When using the front-facing cameras, there's a lot to like about them. First of all, they're wide angle, so you could fit a lot more people in the shot. And the Note 5 performs a little bit better under lower lighting conditions indoors. It's just clear with less noise. But then again, the iPhone 6s Plus can combat that using its flash. When it comes to multimedia consumption, stick with the Note 5. You're just going to get a better package with the experience. Though technically with the iPhone 6s Plus, when it comes to audio output, it has a slight edge both with the speakerphone, the speaker, and also the 3.5mm headset jack. But it's still pretty good with the Note 5. The Note 5 really stands out when it comes to watching videos because of the display. It's larger, higher resolution, sharper, and of course with the adaptive mode on, it'll adjust the color saturation, the contrast to make it a lot more appealing to the eye. And on top of that, you also have the multitasking aspect with it. We really didn't have too many major issues using either handset for phone calls. They're fantastic, especially through the earpiece where volumes are pretty strong and voices are crisp and clear. Though with the Note 5, the microphone tends to subdue our voice, so on the other end line, it might be a little bit tougher to hear. The battery life on both handsets are outstanding, probably some of the best you'll find out there. In fact, in our battery benchmark test, both handsets are tied. They managed to run for 9 hours and 11 minutes, which is more than above average versus the competition. Now, the one advantage though, actually two main advantages with the Note 5 is that first of all, you have wireless charging as an extra feature. And on top of that, you have its ultra fast charging. It blows away the iPhone 6s Plus. The iPhone 6s Plus takes 165 minutes to fully charge versus only 81 minutes with the Note 5. You could really go with either handset. They offer a lot of stuff. With the iPhone 6s Plus, it really stands out for the 3D touch technology it offers. It works pretty well and also inventive. You also have a better app ecosystem with it, and overall you have a smoother, more reliable performance. You also notice that when it comes to 3D gaming, it just performs better than the Note 5. On the flip side, the Note 5, you have a great screen to body ratio. It makes good use of the real estate it has. The S Pen stylus, it's pretty useful with its assortment of features. And lastly, the Note 5 is extremely fast at charging, and you also have wireless charging built in. So when it comes to price point, there's an advantage with the Note 5. By now, you could pick it up at around $650 or even less, while the iPhone 6s Plus carries a premium of $750. You get 16 gigabytes of storage with that, whereas with the Note 5, you get 32 gigabytes. And ultimately, it's about Android versus iOS. Now, if you're already invested into one ecosystem, you're probably better off going with the same thing. So if you're an Android user, go with the Note 5. If you're an existing iOS user, go with the iPhone 6s Plus.